Hello and welcome to another how-to video. My name is DAITECH, CTO at DVS, and thank you for all the likes, shares and subscribes that you guys do. We couldn't do this without you, so thank you very much. Also, a big thank you to Toshiba, our channel sponsor, or video sponsor. If you haven't checked out the Toshiba hard drive technology, now's the time. They're one of our great partners. So, what are we going to look at today? We're going to look at a brand new product from Hikvision, or the technology is not new, it's an Acusense camera, but it's in a new form factor. So the 2.0 Bullet camera is a much anticipated camera, really great for what I feel is a residential property camera, because if you want the active deterrent, or we've actually renamed it to Live Guard as a functionality now, great for marketing. The Live Guard function, which is the sound and light deterrent, used to come in the larger Bullet camera. We've now got it in the smaller, less power consuming Bullet form. So the 2047 4 megapixel, this particular one is a 2.8 fixed lens. So I'll just show you the part number there. If we get it out of the box, so inside the box, of course, you always get your manual and your drill template. Put them to the side. Put them to the side, he says. Yep. Your Allen key, or your security screwdriver, rather. You always get your RJ45 waterproof jacket. Now, it's important that you guys use this. I know a lot of you, when you've got cameras with fly leads like this one, don't use them. Please do use them. It does affect the warranty and the waterproof properties of the camera. So, the camera, so satisfying. So the camera itself is a smaller Bullet camera. It's got the security flap there with an SD card slot and the reset button, so you can insert an SD card in there. It's also got the reset button in there. But you can see on the bottom there is the speaker outlet. So again, not a big speaker, but it should be enough for a residential property when let's say a customer comes into your property and they're looking around. That should be loud enough to deter them. Alongside that, you have the smiley face mouth, which is the white light, so you can either have that as static or flashing on VCA alarm. So human or vehicle detection, somebody walks along or drives into the property, the camera detects it and it can either flash that light or keep it on as a static, and also issue the audible warning through that speaker. Now, it is a fixed lens camera, so it comes with the integrated bracket. So you've got a little screw there for the tighten down for the left to right movement, but it's as simple as this. Undo the thumb screw. You can feed the cable through into the bracket, into the wall space, into the eaves, wherever, and then simply, once you're happy, locate the thumb screw back on. Manipulate the camera around to the view you want. So say if you want it down, and then just simply tighten it. It's actually a one-hand operation. So say we're going to fit it up on a wall looking down at a front door. Really tighten it up, and then that will lock it off, and it'll stop that camera moving, you know, by the wind, etc., or any vibration. What I would say is, if you fitted this quite low, there is a chance that if you put enough force into it, and I am putting quite a bit of force, you could manipulate the bracket. I mean, they could tighten it up a little bit more and put some rubber grip pliers on it and tighten it up, but just be aware it may not tighten down fully. If it's fitted very low, there's still a chance where the your customer, we'll call them that, could manipulate the camera out of field of view. So, in comparison to an iPhone 12 Pro, this is an iPhone 12 Pro. If we look at the size comparison, it's, you know, for a Bullet camera with all this functionality, it's quite small. Obviously the phone is a lot thinner, as you can tell, but it is a relatively small camera with a lot of impact. So we're going to put this on the network, web browse into it, set it up, and then show you the functionality. Because it's an Acusense camera, it benefits from that real false alarm reduction technology. So I can't guarantee you won't have any false alarms, but it's optimized for vehicle and human algorithm with the hardware to back it up. So you'll really drive down that false alarm rate, really improve it and drive it down. And of course, because it's got the built-in speaker, using HIK-Connect as an app, you can actually talk directly out of that speaker as a live function. Sometimes that's more impactful than the pre-recorded message that we can choose, and the live audio output will actually really deter your customers more than that message there. But live guard function, so light sound, you can have either or not either. And then with the live audio, it's a simple fly lead with RJ45 connector, PoE or 12 volt. There's no alarm input output, audio input output, etc. Just a small little camera, very cost effective. And like I said, I see this in that residential market or small commercial. Also, because it's low power draw, very, very low power draw, you may have applications like solar or battery that you could deploy this, still with the active deterrent live guard function, but with an ultra low power draw. So we're going to transfer you to the network, simply plug it into our network here. So RJ45 lead, just like I prepared for this. We're going to plug it in, and now we've plugged it in, the camera will go through its reboot cycle, and we'll be able to web browse into it and simply set it up. So I'm going to transfer you over now to the software, the web browser, and we'll check the functionality out. Stay tuned, guys. Okay, so I've actually fitted the camera on one of our demonstration pods down in the far corner. It's going to stay there permanently. What I've actually done is got it on the network, given it an IP address via the SADP tool, activated it, etc. I've also added it to our iSeries NVR. So on our iSeries NVR, you can see the camera that I fitted on our last demo pod, which covers the demo room. What you can actually do, because it's a Acusense Generation 2 camera, under the iSeries interface, so we're on the actual NVR web browser now, we're able to set the motion detection, and it's got the enhanced motion detection version 2 analytic effectively, where we can target human or vehicle detection. I don't use motion. I put them on 24/7 record personally, so I turn the motion off, but I could use that if I wanted. You can also now, via the iSeries web interface, effectively adjust the flashing light and audible alarm output setting. So under the flashing light, so for the camera, which is 3.101, I know the IP address, flashing duration is 15, high frequency, but I can change it to normally on, which is a static LED, but we'll change it to rapid flashing. And then audible alarm output, again, select the camera. I can select warning, prompt, or custom audio. So the prompt is just like a siren, or custom audio is you upload your own file that you recorded and sent to the desktop and upload it. We're going to use a pre-recorded one, and we're going to do it, this area is under surveillance. Alarm times, we'll just do it once, otherwise it'll be going all the time. And the volume is 100% and 24/7 usage. Now what you can do, a little trick, if you set the VCA, and you want the VCA to be active all the time, so you've got a reference to when these activities happened, but you don't want the light and sound to go in normal daytime hours because it may be going excessively, set the VCA to 24/7, but set the audible sound and flashing light alarm schedule to when you want it. Therefore, the VCA is always active and sending the alarms for reference, but the flashing sound and light will only go on active hours. That's a normal site-based workaround that we suggest. For demonstration purposes, 24/7. So we've set that now. So if I go into the camera itself, you can see there's the model number for reference, and this is currently the latest firmware version. Now, for those of you that don't know, I get all my firmware from the UK portal, but there is also a EU portal. All you need to do is type into a Google web browser. So, www.google.co.uk. To get there, just type in Hikvision. I'm going to go for the UK portal. And all my firmware, etc. is on there. So I've used the latest from that. Okay, VCA resource. By default, it comes as smart event out of the box. If you want to use the VCA for the live guard or active deterrent function, leave it as smart event. You can change it to face capture. The unit will reboot, and then it'll have the face capture tab down here, but then you lose the ability to use line crossing and intrusion event. Security set as required. User management network, so you set the parameters required for your network. You can, if you want, set this for platform access and add this directly. So if I change it to HIK-Connect and directly enable that, you could add this product directly to the HIK-Connect app if it's on the network, and therefore negate the need for a NVR, DVR, etc. Or if it's an old NVR, DVR and you still want the ability to talk to the camera live, put it on the network and add it to the HIK-Connect app directly. iSup, for those of you that don't know, is used for HIK Central. So adding a device into HIK Central without the need for a fixed IP address. Integration protocols, you can enable, disable them as required. Video and audio, it's a 4 megapixel camera and I've set it to 4 megapixel, 15 frames a second, H.265. I don't use the H.265 Plus. In my opinion, it creates too many issues. Now audio, so you've got the input volume for the microphone, we'll leave that, put it up to about 93. So you've got mic in, built-in microphone, region of interest and display info on stream. Image, pretty standard Hikvision stuff here, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. Preset, so normal backlight, front light, low illumination, custom 1, custom 2. Now it is powered by Darkfighter along with the Acusense technology, so this should give you a very good image at night. So you can adjust all the parameters, exposure, day-night settings, etc. Backlight settings, white balance, image enhancements, etc. OSD, adjust the text. All I've done is put the name of the camera into the OSD, so when we're looking at our cameras we understand what that model is. You have privacy mask and image parameters switch, so you can change between scenes depending on time of the day or night. Now event, I've turned off motion detection as I've already stated via the NVR, so that's disabled. But again, this flash and alarm output, you can see I changed it to high frequency and it's just gone from the NVR, transferred it through to the camera. Under smart event, well actually I put an SD card in there, so what I'm going to do is initialize that, 32 gigabyte, format the hard drive, or the SD card, sorry, hard drive. Dun-dun. No. Come on. As you can see, the default percentage of picture and video, so 25% for picture, 75% for video. You can change that to 100% video, 100% picture, or whatever the percentage is, as long as it equals 100% capacity. However you split that, change it, click save. Okay, I can actually select it, and you can encrypt. You can type an encryption password in here, which will encrypt the SD card, which will mean you need that password. If you take the SD card out, you will need the password to input in to get the video files out. It encrypts the SD card effectively. Network hard drives and cloud storage. Okay, so I'm going to put it on continual just to make sure it works. Another cool function is if you've got an SD card in the camera, actually on the NVR, so if I go to the NVR storage and I choose the camera, which is this one here, SD card in the camera, click on advanced, I can actually enable ANR, so automatic network refresh, and click OK, click save. Now if that camera loses connection to the NVR for whatever reason, network, NVR issue, hard drive issue on the NVR, because it's saving continually on the SD card, it will actually back the footage up from the camera back to the NVR, so it'll give you a continuous unbroken video footage on the NVR as well as recording on the SD card. What I do encourage, if it's a critical location, or you have an inkling the NVR might be stolen on a break-in or destroyed, if you put SD cards in the camera, they'd have to physically steal all your cameras as well. And most people don't realize if you put an SD card in there, the camera will record in isolation. Therefore, you've got a much higher chance of prosecution should the NVR break, get stolen, get whatever that is. Okay, so just a handy little tip for you. Anyway, going back to the camera, what we're going to do under the event, smart event, you got intrusion and line crossing, etc. So if I use line crossing, if I go to the NVR, effectively I can set it on the NVR. It does transfer through to the camera. I get that question quite a lot, so I'll do it here to show you. So under event, smart event, choose the camera, go to line crossing, enable line crossing, draw the line. So we'll say here, sometimes it's easier to, yeah. So draw the line here, that'll do. And save. Sensitivity, I can adjust it. Wait for that to save. Human or vehicles, so I can choose which one. The direction of the line crossing, so we'll do it both lines. And then you can choose the minimum and maximum object size. So the maximum object size would say be this. Wait for it to catch up. This PC is running a little bit slowly today. Click save. And the same with minimum target. If I draw a box like this, so it has to between the minimum and maximum object sizes to be a valid alarm. So therefore you can eliminate like cats, dogs, you know, rabbits, birds, etc. by using the filter. You don't have to use it. By default, lots of people don't use it, and then if they get false alarms, then enable it. But by default, it's off. But if you do draw the minimum and maximum object size, the object has to be within that size and to be filtered out. But you have to, you know, be aware that with the maximum target size, now if I am very close to the camera, I'm going to be bigger than that maximum object size. So what I'll probably do is draw it a little bit bigger, wait for it to catch up. And click save. So it may be a trial and error process on that. Save succeeded. And you've also got 4 lines and 4 intrusion detection areas. You can use them all at the same time. Arming schedule 24/7, and then linkage action. Notify surveillance center if you want, which is our app. So yes. And then you've got the audio and alarm linkage action. So on the NVR, we're going to choose sound and light because we want these both to trigger, and click save. Save succeeded. So on VCA activation, both the light and the sound will trigger. And again, with intrusion detection, very similar process. But with the intrusion detection, again, you've got 4 areas. Same minimum, maximum object size, human or vehicles. But you've also got a threshold alarm up to 10 seconds. So sometimes that gives another layer of false alarm stability. So an object has to be in that area for up to 10 seconds before the alarm is generated. So you can create another filter by using intrusion instead of line crossing. Depends on the application. One can be more stable than the other. Effectively click save. Now I'm going to just get rid of this because it's taking too much resource off the PC, so change it to a non-video. Now in configuration here under local, so I've enabled all of the VCA functions so you can see it in the live view. So if I go to live view of this camera, so I'm going to go and walk up and down there. Apologies, we are doing some project testing on this. So I'm going to go and walk through that line there. Now, because I've added it to the I-Series NVR, I have arm disarm setup on this NVR. I can't remember if I've armed or disarmed the I-Series NVR, so we'll see now. But you should see the line trigger. Once you see it trigger, you may or may not hear the sound itself. I'll turn it around here, so we've got a bit of a, I can see the screen then. So let me just test this. Okay, so you can see the actual trigger. So you can see it going red. So both directions it was red. I do believe I've disarmed this NVR. So I'm quickly going to change the state of alarm input 1 on this NVR, the key switch terminal, which should allow us to hear that annunciation. I'll just try it again. I think I changed the state. Okay, it might be on my app, so just give me 2 seconds while I figure out what's going on, and then I'll update you as to why that didn't currently work. Okay, people, I have found the issue. So the 1 key disarming was actually fine on the NVR. The culprit was on the HIK-Connect app itself. So you can see there, if I bring this in, See this alarm symbol here above my finger, or by my finger? That was crossed off. With the alarm symbol on HIK-Connect, with it disabled, it actually disables the white light and the speaker function on the LiveGuard active deterrent cameras. So as a point to note, you have full control on the HIK-Connect app, which I've said before. By disabling that, it also turns off the flashing white light and notifications or sound event. With that turned on, the notification will now work. So if I turn the unit around, I know it's quite difficult to see, but you should be able to hear this nevertheless. Okay, so you can see then I've actually got it working. It was my fault. It's that one key disarm. What I will do quickly is turn all of the lights off in the demo room so you can see the powered by Darkfighter effect. And then I'll put the camera on the tripod looking at it so you can see the actual visual and hear it, the performance of this little small camera. So if you stay tuned. Okay, so I've turned all the lights off in the demo room. It's actually a lot darker than it appears in here. There are some lights from some of the equipment in here, but if you saw how dark it is in here, it doesn't reflect in this image. Don't forget, it is powered by Darkfire, therefore the image will be quite good in low light. It's not amazing compared to the color view because you can see some graininess coming into the image, but what I will do is walk up to the camera now so you can see the effect the white light has on the image itself, and then I'll transfer you through to the tripod camera as an overview to see how effective that is. So you can see the effect that white light has, like on the actual image itself. It really does brighten up the image and give you the extra detail in there. If you don't like the flashing because you're worried that it doesn't give you enough detail, you can change it to a static white light, which will give you that nice colorful image, while the white light is on. So again, you don't have to have it as flashing. The one thing with human nature is if you put a flashing light on there, people tend to look at it, and therefore you've probably got a better chance at capturing the facial details of your customers in that area. But it is entirely up to you whether you set that as flashing or as a static. I'll transfer you over to the tripod now, and you can see as a third-person point of view what this camera looks and performs like. Okay, so the camera is actually up there. There. It is quite dark in the demo room as it shows on the camera now. It's very deceiving when you use powered by Darkfighter or Darkfighter technology. I'm going to walk in front of that camera now and you'll see the flashing white light and hear the audible alarm. We're about 5.5, 6 meters away from that camera presently.
Attention please. Attention please. The area is under surveillance.
Okay.
Attention please. The area is under surveillance.
Okay, so you get the idea of that camera and its trigger. What I will do now is I've turned all the lights back on, so I'm going to quickly show you the benefit of using the HIK-Connect app. So we've got the app here.
Attention please.
I'm going to keep triggering this. So I'm going to choose the camera from this.
Attention please. The area is under surveillance.
So I've got the camera loaded here on the HIK-Connect app. I'm going to choose the talk down function. So talk directly to the camera. Hello? 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 Please leave the area. So you can see I'm talking directly to that camera speaker output. Hello? So again, you can see how beneficial it is using the HIK-Connect app and the functionality of being able to live talk to that camera via the app, via the NVR. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave any comments, and we'll see you next week for another how-to video. Thanks all, stay safe.